Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Canadian and Mexican citizens who are fully vaccinated will be able to visit once again. Governor Kathy Hochul says it's overdue. Her statement reading in part, Canada is not only our trade partner, but more importantly, Canadians are our neighbors and our friends. From Western New York to the North Country, I look forward to welcoming our Canadian neighbors back to New York as we continue to rebuild and recover from this pandemic.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. And by the way, New York is super, super normal.
I see people walking around New York like everything's normal. People are just glassy-eyed walking down the street like, I just had brunch in a plastic bubble in the bike lane. Everything is normal. I did this before. Oh yeah, the rest of the world's on fire. I experienced true loneliness the last 18 months. My actual circle of friends is much smaller than I thought it was. But I just had an omelet in the middle of the street. Oh yeah, I'm my old self again.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, this is totally normal. We should totally be normal. Let me tell you what the world's like. Shatner's going to space, right? Captain Kirk's going to space. And people are eating a brunch in the middle of the street because we're still worried about COVID. All that going on, everybody's trying to figure out how to pay my bills. Chad, how do we pay the bills? Things seem crazy. Yeah. Guess what else is happening when it comes to COVID? And I don't think this could be understated. People are asking, where are the employees? They're gone.
New figures show more Americans are quitting their jobs. 4.3 million quitting in August alone, the highest number since 2000. After coming through the darkest months of the pandemic, experts say workers are looking for better opportunities, better hours, and more perks. Others have quit because of a lack of childcare.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into this, but these are the things that matter. When we look around and we wonder why we've got a shortage of just about everything, our supply chain, we have a shortage of employees. So during the week, as you guys know, I do two shows. One of them is a local show. And right now, my on-air host partner is on a vacation with his wife. They're over in Europe, somewhere gallivanting around. I believe they're in Athens. And so this week we have a guy that's a big-time lawyer here in Arizona, and his name's Barry Markson. Good dude. And Barry's firm cannot find any lawyers. He goes, Chad, we pay well above the average. We don't ask you to work 100 hours a week. You may work 50. Very flexible. And we're paying well above. We can't find anybody. Hell, we can't even get people to apply for jobs. Coronavirus has sped up a lot of things. I think people eventually saw opportunities where the office wasn't going to be so much obsolete. It just wasn't going to be as necessary as it was before. You've got a younger generation that's more concerned about what your social justice statement is than whether or not they get a Friday off or you're going to pay them a certain wage. You're going to have to learn to adapt, right? You're going to have to learn to adapt. You are. We got people coming back. Now it's like, all right, so Mexico and Canada, you guys, and I love how, like, you guys can now cross the border. Except if you cross it illegal, we don't really care what happens there. But all of that being said, it's a wacky time out there, but it's a great time. It's still the best time in human history. This is a blip on the radar. Somebody said to me yesterday, hey, I'm sure he's a nice person, and he tweeted at me, and I've got a couple people. I've got one guy who, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he must tweet at me. For somebody who can't stand me, I'm often surprised at how much people listen. But this one guy's like, hey, remember that person that said that, last year where life was was going to hell, and you laughed at them, and I said, yeah, because it's not. Well, you're not laughing now, are you? And I'm like, yeah, why would it be? Life's not going to hell. There's plenty of jobs available, opportunities that we could never even have imagined. We're sending Captain Kirk into space. Right? It's not the Enterprise, but it's space. When he was doing that show those many years ago, did he ever think, hey, maybe one day I'll go to space? For real. Maybe, but probably not. Because he was too busy going, I got to turn TJ Hooker into something big. Opportunities. Things are great. They are. Now, this administration, no matter what Jen Psaki says, is a hot mess.
Today we saw another jobs report that fell well below expectations, the smallest jobs gains in nearly a year. Gas prices are at a 7-year high. Inflation is up. The president is struggling to get the rest of his Build Back Better agenda passed through Congress. How do you assess where things stand right now?
We certainly don't see things as darkly as you do. Look, the president's focus is on leading through a challenging time, and that has been his focus from the first day he took office.
Well, that's what she's supposed to say. What is she going to say? Man, we suck. It is horrible. And it is somewhat of a challenging time. We're extremely divided in a ton of things. If you thought, by the way, that the arguments that we had when it came to adults getting vaccines and making choices, wait till you really start to see what takes place with the kids in certain places. Mandatory that you do this. You watch, because I have friends who've vaccinated themselves. They're pro-vaccine. They're all of those things. They're exactly what you would think. If you could go to like Central Casting and say, give me super progressive, hippie, liberal, da-da-da-da, this would be it, right? Like they're all about, they're like, I don't know if I'm going to do it for my kids. In fact, the latest data shows it's kind of a three-way tie. You have about 10% of people that really, they're completely unsure about it. You know, they probably will, but not today. You have 30% going out immediately and doing it. 30% that are never going to do it. 30% that is, we'll give it a while. We'll give it a while. And that 10% of kids who are homeschooled or they're in private school and they're not going to answer any. But it's a dead heat. We're divided. Biden's got a tough challenge. But here's the thing. You signed up for this. You signed up for it. Trump got the blame for everything that he did that was stupid, as he should have. Every administration will try to pass the buck. You're heading towards your 10th month in charge. Moving through it. This is you. You have a nightmare at the border. You have inflation that is rising, that may not go anywhere. You have a supply chain that's completely broken. Somebody said, well, what can they do about the supply chain? I don't know. You're the government. Come up with something. You've got access to all kinds of things. If we need to start bringing people in to help out, then you do it. You do what you need to do to get things done. Setting up a task force to go, I wonder why the supply chain's not working the way it should. Well, I don't know. No, we don't need that. We need action. As the president, now is the time that you go and you say, all right, here it is. This is what I'm going to do. It is a challenging time, and we make it, because we can be like children, even more challenging. But when I hear stuff like,
if you look at the data month over month, as I noted a few minutes ago, he has also created 5 million jobs under his presidency. We've created an average of 500,000 jobs a month. We are at a faster rate of economic growth, a lower rate of unemployment than in quite some time. That's progress. That's moving exactly in the right direction. And as it relates to the president's agenda, we're continuing to press forward with members of Congress who have a broad range of views about the path forward. But we're making progress. The president remains confident we're going to get it done. And this is what governing looks like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. By the way, you've been called out by a bunch of people when it comes to the jobs, your math on the jobs. You name it, you've been called out for it. And here's the thing that you should worry about if you're a Democrat. Normally, there's a changing of the guard. Right? You've got everything. You got the Senate, you've got the House, and you've got the presidency. We tend to be a group of people that is like, all right, you had your time. We're going to give these other guys and gals a chance over here because we're not sure, because usually at some point in time you do an overreach. Right? At some point in time you overreach and you're like, uh-oh, But you knew it, because to get things through, you're going to piss a lot of people off, and you're going to worry some people even in who vote for you. And so they want check. We like the balance here. You won independence by a ton, 13%. Hillary lost independence. You right now, when it comes to independence, minus 16. Think about that. Minus 16. You're not saying anything about the Virginia's governor's race because, quite frankly, they're trying to distance the nightmare that is. The American people, we survive and pull through no matter what. As great as it is right now, we've got a government that is failing. That's it. Federal government that's failing. They have failed. They failed in Afghanistan. And I didn't think it was going to be 100% perfect, but what it was a debacle. The border's a hot mess. COVID, you want to talk about, we've created 5 million jobs. Well, if we're going to go in that direction, you've had the vaccine and more people have died under your watch. If that's the game, it's all Republicans. I'm just saying, if we're going to do the numbers, because everybody's worried, wants to point all these things out, this isn't uniting the country. You said you wouldn't have mandates. You've put out mandates. You've divided this country as much by talking about the us versus them, like the unclean versus the clean. That ain't helping. You've got inflation on the rise. Gas prices are through the roof, which is not all your fault. You've got China flexing and doing a pretty damn good job of it. And you got a vice president that apparently did a video with a bunch of kid actors. Like this is where we are at this point in time. America will be fine. This presidency, the Democrats, we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Let me tell you what happened. The Republicans will win. And then we'll be like, the Republicans, that's what we do. We are a fickle bunch. But that's what keeps, in many cases, the balance of the power. Because when one party can overrun another party, eventually it leads to utter demise. Utter demise. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Roughgreens.com/Chad. I give it to my dogs every single day, every once in a while. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I sneak it into a banana, right on top of a banana for Winston. He eats it up because it's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, non-GMO. It's got digestive enzymes. It's got all these things. Now, it's not going to help his fur, but I think it was going to hurt, and he seems to like it. But what it's done for my dogs is changed everything. They're healthier. They're happier. The fur that they have, and this time of year, especially with allergies and stuff, it's just amazing. If you're saying to yourself, I'd like to try that, Chad, how about this? Try it before you buy it. You cover the cost of shipping. They're going to send you a bag for free. Oh, yeah, free. Cover the cost of shipping. RUFFgreens.com/Chad or 833-MyDog77, 833-MyDog77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Wanna be boys? Give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers. One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
Those new draft guidelines from a panel of experts recommending doctors stop prescribing daily aspirin for people over 60 to lower the risk of having a first heart attack and stroke. That updated guidance also reversing the recommendation to take baby aspirin to reduce the risk of colorectal cancer. For decades, aspirin has been prescribed as a blood thinner to reduce the chance of blood clots. But aspirin will still be recommended for patients who have already had a cardiac event.
So that changes. It's big. A lot of people take aspirin, baby aspirin, and now you've got a new thing where they're like, now try this. And you got to think about this. Like, even when we're talking about like the new frontier, if you will, when we head into what is going on with the coronavirus, because we're turning our attention to what?
Officials now turning their focus to vaccines for kids. The White House telling governors to be prepared to vaccinate elementary age kids in early November in anticipation of the FDA's green light.
And people, say, oh, yeah, that's let's start doing that. And then other people who have any kind of worry about like vaccines and things like that, you got the aspirin going, hey, guys, do you remember when we told you to do this? Well, I'll hold off on that. We got some other studies. I'm like, well, you've been telling us this for years. It's like when I was a kid growing up, it was like eggs were horrible for you. And then it was like, no, they're okay. And then it was like, they may not be good. And then it was like, no, you can do an egg. It's like, I don't even know anymore. How about I just eat it and we'll just go from there? I don't eat a lot of it, but I'll have some. They've never said that about bacon. All they've ever said is bacon's delicious. That's it. Bacon's delicious. Nothing else. Bacon's awesome. But as we turn to this, you can see why some people are hesitant. And when it comes to the kids, I'm telling you, you and I, sometimes we play adult, right? Sometimes we play adults. All that being said, when it comes to us, you and I, we make our decisions for ourselves. When it comes to our kids, I think you're going to have more of a pushback that I think even the White House and people realize. Because I think you're going to find that across the board, Republicans, Democrats, and I'm not talking about the outliers who'd like to get their kids. Can you just give them the adult shot? And no, they're never getting shot. I'm talking about just the average. They're going to have a little bit different look at this because they're younger and they're children. 14, 15, 16. Okay, you know what? You're allowing them to make somewhat of a decision for themselves. But I think especially for a younger group of people, that'll be tough. And what happens when you get to the point where it's like, okay, 6-month-old to 5-year-old? You watch what happens. Because we're making a decision for them. And something that we've made a decision for ourselves, but we don't really know what it does to kids. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Today, ESPN stating the comments are clearly repugnant under any circumstance. Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, the NFL's longest tenured black head coach, reacting to the news of his former boss.
I'm saddened for the Raiders organization. I'm saddened for the people that were offended by it. I'm saddened for Coach Gruden. It's a sad commentary.
Gruden not yet responding to the allegations made in the report, but in a statement overnight saying in part, I love the Raiders, and I do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, you're still out. By the way, he forfeited just over $60-some million. And very interesting what some NFL reporters are saying, Mike Florio being one of them, came out and said that he talked to people at the NFL. Remember, there's 650,000 emails, of which Gruden was not part of this investigation. He was not part of this investigation at all. These were just emails that were part of it. But he does not have a good relationship with Goodell and the NFL in a lot of ways. He was a thorn in their side. And people are saying, hey, why is it just him? Why did you guys bring this out now? You had these in the summer. Why now? And apparently these things were talked about all the way back in 2011. Oh yeah. And when Mike Florio intimated, and again, I like Mike. He's a good guy. He kind of intimated that they had this. They thought when they leaked the first one about D. Smith's lips being like Michelin tires, that he would leave or he would be fired. And when that didn't happen, they started to leak more. And apparently, until he left, they were going to continue to leak emails. So there must be more. There must be more. He's gone. I don't have a problem with that. Here's where I have a problem with some of this stuff. Okay? He did this to himself. People, we can all be stupid. Let's not pretend that we've not said something. Let's not pretend that we've not, maybe not tweeted something because, Twitter's not been around forever, but emailed or every one of us. I mean, Michael Wilbon yesterday talked about it. Say, look, everybody has got something in their past that based on today's sensibilities, what you said back then may not even be bad, but it doesn't matter based on today's world. All that being said, Tampa Bay, where he won a Super Bowl, has put him in the Ring of Honor. And now?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where John Gruden once was the head coach, where he led that franchise to its first Super Bowl win, and they erected a statue of him outside the stadium and put him in the team's Ring of Honor inside the stadium. They have removed John Gruden's name from the Ring of Honor, saying that they stand for equality, diversity, inclusion, not what John Gruden represents.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's good. Now, people are going, well, hold on a second here. If we're going to get rid of him, also in that Ring of Honor is Warren Sapp, who was charged with domestic battery, soliciting of prostitution and assault. Maybe it's time we get rid of him, too. And you're like, what? Like, that's where we're going now? By the way, if you guys want to know anything about, like, the retro rage, if you wanted to go into baseball and say we'll start in the 70s, right? Late 60s, 70s, below, you could probably throw out a lot of people. Ty Cobb is arguably the worst person in any Major League Sports Hall of Fame. There may not be a worse person. Anti-Semitic, racist. At one time, he beat up a black groundskeeper who only had one arm, and then when his wife came down, he beat her up. He was awful. I don't think John needs to be punished in a way of, you can't take away the or are you going to take away the Super Bowl? I mean, is that where we're at? Feels like it. Like, okay, you know what? They had a bad person on their team. So we're going to just deny everything he did before. Well, it's about punishing, Chad. That's exactly what it is. It's about punishing. It's about punishing. It's not about learning. It's not about growing. It's not about taking something that people did and made mistakes. And again, we don't know what's in the other God knows how many emails. It's about punishing somebody. And I don't know about you, it doesn't often lead to success, if you will, when it comes to trying to rehab or get people in a position of understanding certain things. But to take him out of the Ring of Honor, I find that to be just insane. Like that quick, too. Then people are already calling, get ready for this. People are already saying, you know what else needs to happen? We need a new halftime show. That's the new one. Why is Dr. Dre and Eminem and any of these people part of this halftime? They sing about killing, and they sing about all kinds of offensive things, from Eminem talking about killing his ex and Dr. Dre and all that stuff. It's time to get them off. And I'm just like, here we go. Get ready for a wave of it. You know who's going to play at the Super Bowl? Nobody. There's just nothing. She's going to have a microphone sitting there. That's it. Nothing else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Do Southwest kind of back on schedule?
Talking about the vaccine mandate, oh yeah, I mean, there are some that have very strong views on both sides of that issue. Well, I've never been in favor of corporations imposing that kind of a mandate. I'm not in favor of that, never have been. The executive order from President Biden mandates that all federal employees and then all federal contractors, which covers all the major airlines, have to have a vaccine in place by December the 8th.
Okay, that's the CEO right there of Southwest. Remember, Southwest is a brand. What was the brand that Southwest built, right? Like cheap, fun, and we're good, right? We're going to get you to and fro on time. People are still asking questions about what happens. But this is a perfect example of saying, hey, look, I would not be in a position to do something like this when it comes to our employees and mandates. But the government did it. The government did it. The government did it. They did.
We're urging all of our employees to get vaccinated. If they can't, we're urging them to seek an accommodation, either for medical or religious reasons. And my goal, obviously, is that no one loses their job. The objective here, obviously, is to improve health and safety, not for people to lose their jobs.
I keep going back to this, and I will continue to keep going back to this. When does the mandate end? So let's say you mandate you get a shot for this. Okay. I show you my card. You get one shot. Are you going to come back to me in a month and ask, did you get the second one? How about you get both, and here it is 8 months later. Are you checking on me to see if I got the next one? Or was this just the placebo effect of getting me that first shot that makes everybody feel good so everybody keep their jobs, but then we're all getting on with ourselves and paying no attention? That's a fair one, right? Like, when does, and where is the cutoff where, hey, look, we've dropped below X amount of cases. We're going to treat this like the flu. We urge you to get the flu shot, but if you don't, understand, we've got treatments and stuff, and we've got some of those coming. Where is the mandate stuff end? I never see that. I always see them wanting to put mandates in. I never see them wanting to do the sunset of if it gets to this level. Even when I've asked like school leaders here locally, they don't ever have an answer for any of that stuff. There's never an answer. It's always, well, we're just following the guidelines. First of all, nobody followed the guidelines last year. Remember when they came out and they had the charts like, this is phase 1, phase 2 to reopening, phase 3, then phase 4. And they're like, well, we're going to start at phase 4. Nobody ever followed that. No, it's like work. How many times are you at work and they come up with a great idea, right? Somebody comes up with this awesome idea. Hey, guys, we're going to do this. We're all going to be in, go to Teams or whatever you're going to do. And we're going to do this and we're going to start following these rules. And I put stuff in there. We've set it all up. People do it like one person does it. And then after 3 weeks, that's the only person in there. And then you just like, I'm not doing this anymore. That's kind of where we went. What I see is mandate. Let's try this. Let's do this. Never about reopening in a way where we're normal and living a normal life. And instead, it's all about cracking down and a good majority of people have stopped paying attention, and people are willing to go, you know what? If I have to lose my job, I will.
I've been an airline pilot for 18 years, and now I'm facing an ultimatum. Not a choice, but an ultimatum. I'm being told in order to continue my career as an airline pilot, I must be vaccinated, which really means I have to choose between putting food on the table for my family and my freedom of choice. Whether you believe in vaccination is the right thing to do or not, the situation goes far beyond health. You may think being forced to wear a mask or get a vaccination is insignificant, but when you begin to compile mandate after mandate and loss of freedom after freedom, it becomes very significant.
Yeah, and he's absolutely right. And we keep going back to this. And this is a great point that this pilot makes here. An absolutely fantastic point about the baseline syndrome.
As each thing is taken away, we face what is known as the shifting baseline syndrome. This syndrome changes our idea of a new and acceptable normal. Soon, we will not remember what it was like to have the freedoms we once did. Our children and our grandchildren will experience less freedom, and they won't have the privilege or the pleasure to enjoy the same choices our parents had or that we have. Whether you believe in vaccination or not, I'm standing up for your freedom of choice.
And I go back to it's the frog, right? We always talk a little bit about the frog. You put a frog in a hot boiling, pot of water. What's it do? It jumps out. Oh my God! You put it in there and slowly turn it up the heat. The shifting of that at such a slow pace, you don't recognize it. Same thing with weight loss, right? Or putting weight on. If you woke up tomorrow and you were 30 pounds heavier or 30 pounds lighter out of nowhere, you'd be like, oh my God. What you don't see is it's slowly but surely happening. For weight loss, it's good, but for this, no. They move 4 inches forward, and then we move 3.5 inches back. It feels like it's the same, but it's not. And I never hear the other side of, well, once we get to this level. I don't. And if you think, having an omelet in the street, if you will, or watching your kids sing songs about wearing a mask is something that is great because it's fantastic. It's not. It's asinine and stupid. We need to live above this thing, not let it rule us. But the difference is many of the people, especially in the smaller areas of government, see this as a great opportunity to reset, reshift, and to take a little bit more control. And they're running with it. Hardest thing to do, and we've said this since the beginning, hardest thing that's going to happen out of this is unwinding all that power. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from you. Raycon, best earbuds around. Incredible. Love these things. I've got my amazing Raycons that have no stems or wires. Slow, just pop them in, and you feel it's almost like a click, like a Lego. And boom, away you go. Noise isolating fit. And the reason it fits so good is because they give you 6 soft gel tips, so it fits perfectly for your ear. You have to worry about those stems or wires. You have to push them in all the time. They're there. The sound quality, the design, the way it seamlessly Bluetooth pairing goes. And you got a great charging case. It'll give you the 4 full charges for your earbuds before you have to charge it back in with wireless charging options. Try your Raycons, 45-day happiness guarantee. They start under $70. Buy Raycon.com/Chad. Buy Raycon.com/Chad. Get yours now. Buy Raycon.com/Chad. Save an extra 15%. Chad Benson Show.
I'm exhausted. If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The headline on a new Eric Clapton article on Rolling Stone's website makes it clear that the publication has an issue with the music legend. It reads, quote, Eric Clapton isn't just spouting vaccine nonsense, he's bankrolling it. The article describes how the 76-year-old guitarist and singer donated money to Jam for Freedom, a group of UK musicians who are anti-lockdown and vaccine skeptics. The article also resurfaces Clapton's own problems with the vaccine, which he took and had a severe reaction to, as well as racist comments Clapton has made in the past, which he's apologized for and blamed on booze and drugs.
Yeah. It's really because he's not towing the line. No, he's against lockdowns. Who's for lockdowns? Out of curiosity, are you for lockdowns? No. He had a bad experience. By the way, he's supposedly anti-vaccine. He got the vaccine and had a horrific experience. We should discount that, though. No, we shouldn't. He said stuff. He's apologized. Said there was some booze, but also some of the stuff he said. You go back and you're like, "Well, do you have?" Like, oh, you got it on tape? Well, no. It was people said they heard it. I'm like, okay. This is Rolling Stone. So I don't know how much we put credit into a lot of what they're reporting at this point in time. But you're getting a lot. You know what? You get older, you got the 2Fs tour, right? You know? The I Don't Give a Blank tour, number 1 is Clapton. Number 2 is Paul McCartney. Phil, did you see what McCartney said about the Stones?
No, I didn't.
He said that they're just a blues cover band. Because he's on that tour of I Don't Give a Blank. And he also said, it wasn't Yoko. John broke up the band. He just walked in one day and said, yeah, I'm out of the Beatles. That's it. You know? He goes, he wanted to do sit-ins. That was like the big thing at the time, and sleep-ins and bed-ins, and that was it. And it sounded, when you read the interview and stuff, it like he wanted the Beatles to continue. But it was really John that was like, I'm done. There you go. But when you get to a certain age, right? It's like later, today I'm going to speak with the former governor of Arizona. Her name's Jan Brewer. Jan's in her 70s, former governor. She's not running for anything. How she is when she's a politician, comparatively how she is now, she don't give a blank. That's fresh. It is. Same thing here. When you get to a certain level, you're like, man, I really don't give a rat's ass anymore. I'm past that. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The Treasury Secretary is reassuring Americans the supply shortages should be temporary and there's no reason to panic about getting your holiday presents. But right now, this is a crisis. And this morning, the White House is meeting with top executives from some shipping companies and the heads of some of America's largest ports to try to get things moving.
Yeah. Because the holiday season's here. It's not just about whether or not you'll get your presents or I'll get my presents or Jack will get his presents or you'll be able to get that super awesome toy for your kid or your husband, that thing he's always wanted, or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever. It's also about, by purchasing those things, other people continue to work. And the White House needs to, this is where you stand up and you say, what do we have to do? Do I have to tell the states, maybe start looking at finding extra... Where's the National Guard? What can we do to get some of this stuff going? Well, you wouldn't want to do that. What can we do? Right? What is it that we can do to get these things moving? How do we get this going? Why? What's up with the docks?
From workers on the dock to truck drivers, each piece of the supply chain is strained and struggling to find enough workers. All that pressure is leading to higher costs for consumers. Diaper prices up nearly 9%, clothes up 4.2%, new cars up 7.6%, meat prices up nearly 9%, and eggs up nearly 10% from a year ago.
Yeah. By the way, longshoremen, which they're struggling to find, if you have patience, it used to be the thing to be. How about this for longshoremen? All right? You guys ready for this? Average dock worker makes $147,000 annually, $35,000 a year in paid health care benefits. The pension pays $80,000 a year. They're struggling to find people who want to do this. They're struggling to find people who want to work at the docks. And it takes a bit to get in there. But the opportunity is there. Now, we're talking about longshoremen who work in places like the ports, which is where you need to really have them. But there are serious issues that aren't being addressed. And this is where, if you are the president, you don't put a task, you get your best people on this and say, don't bring me any more problems. Bring me solutions. Get things moving. I give you and hired you based on the fact that I can trust you. And I know it's government, so we're iffy on all that. get some stuff done. But the reality is this stuff right now, it isn't disappearing the way that I think they think it is.
Global food prices are at the highest they've been in a decade. That's according to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the UN. This is Kraft Heinz also warns people will, quote, have to get used to higher food prices. We're joined now by the president and CEO of Giant Food Stores, Nicholas Bertram.
Honestly, by June, we had already had the same number of cost increase requests from manufacturers that we got in the whole of 2020, and it just seems to continue to accelerate. Anywhere we can push back, we always do, and anywhere we can absorb the cost for customers, we try to do that as well. But honestly, everything continues to get more expensive right now.
Continues to get more expensive. Continues to get more expensive. And as you're starting to realize, there's the shrinkflation. That's real. Shrinkflation is real. You're paying more, and then you're like, oh, This thing is not what it used to be. This isn't what? Like, we've always had that kind of like chips, right? Potato chips, you buy a bag and things big and you open it up and you're like, oh my God, there's barely anything in here. Now, do that for everything.
So if everything's continuing to get more expensive, where can consumers in the grocery stores expect to feel the pinch of higher prices? Or, since sometimes, especially where packaged food is concerned, it's not always higher prices, but smaller quantities. Where are you seeing those biggest pain points?
Yeah, right now, as we talk today, it's really in meat. Cattle costs have gone up 20% versus last year, and so we're seeing about 8% inflation right now.
Yeah, 8%. Well, what do you mean 8%? I thought it was only 3% or 2%. This isn't going anywhere. This affects every single one of us. Our paychecks, while they're growing, and opportunities are out there, the reality is inflation right now is outpacing a lot of those things. Cost of healthcare is going up. The uncertainty in certain positions and areas of the country, whether or not your child will be in school tomorrow, all those things start to snowball. Right now, when you look at the polls, and if you dive deeper, like we touched on the polls last week, but this is not a good sign if you're the president heading into a midterm where if you lose the midterm, and normally we have somewhat of a changing of guard during the midterms, especially when one party is in the dominant position. That's just kind of something that's happened. And while you can't always say that, past performance is indicative, right now, he won independents by about 13. Right now, independents, minus 16. Almost a 30-point switch. That's not really going to roll. You've got a tough race in Virginia that I think a lot of people thought this thing's going to be, come on, it's Virginia. Don't worry about this. All right, Koff's got this. They're distancing himself. In fact, Obama's coming out to help. They're trying anything. They're bringing out anything. There's an issue. And if you're the White House, focus on coronavirus. Absolutely. You focus on things that are in front of you, but you've got to also turn your focus on what can I do? I can't blame him for the rising oil prices and gas, because if we're going to do that, we got to look over at, Donald Trump and say, the last, 3 quarters of last year, you had huge spikes in oil prices. I can't blame that on him. OPEC plays a big part of it. The things that are being done today will affect us in the future. In many cases, 5 to 10 years potentially. Well, he closed down the pipeline. Pipeline wasn't built. So settle down. That wasn't going to change anything today. This is where you have to start thinking, how are we going to weather this? How do I right this ship? You've got a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill that isn't getting done. You pass a short-term, silly little debt thing. As we all know, they pat each other on the back and like, oh, my God, we did a great job. But the reality is at this point in time, you're going to fight about it again come early December. And, of course, you've got $3.5 trillion you want to spend. Or else you're not going to do the $1.2 trillion. If you're the president, you're pulling what little hair you have out of your head right now, because there's nothing else. Your agenda is about ready, and my agenda that I had is already, this is what I wanted to do. It's going to go. And then, of course, there's still what's going on when it comes to COVID and the battle that we're facing with COVID, and that is with each other. And now you've got kids getting ready to, the president's telling the governors, tell the kids it's coming, so they better be prepared for it. I'm like, this is going to end up to be ugly. Because even some Democrats, even some independents, even some people that have gotten the shot, a little more hesitant about getting their 5-year-old a shot than they say they were their 16-year-old or their selves. It's tough right now. If you're Biden, you're getting frustrated by all of this. So you better start figuring it out. And you better start making moves where you're thinking about, I'm the president. What can I do to push this thing forward? How can I get the supply chains up and running? Because at this moment in time, it just seems to be, and all I hear is excuse after excuse after excuse. Some of that is real when it comes to certain parts of the supply chain because we've outsourced so much. But a lot of what's out there, the frustration level is I think people are thinking we're down man and women power, if you will, and want to frustrate anybody. But there are things I think that can be done. But it's government. And as we all know, government, A, never wastes an opportunity to make things look far worse than it really is, and B, loves to study stuff.
The White House says it's been working to alleviate supply chain issues since President Biden took office. But with bottlenecks and congestion at U.S. ports threatening the holiday shopping season, the issue has taken on an added urgency. The president is meeting today with the heads of the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, California, the point of entry for 40% of containers to the U.S. The White House says there is no simple fix. As one official put it, quote, you can't flip a light switch in this very complicated supply chain and have it change overnight. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Yeah, you can do some stuff. You can. There are things you can do. And that's why you meet not only with the ports, but with the governors and say, what can we do? What extra manpower can we get in here to help get these things off? What about truck drivers? We're having serious issues with that. I mean, we talked about it last week. They're training 17 and 18-year-olds now to drive trucks. There is things that you can do at a smaller level that will help break some of this congestion. Some of that supply chain is broken way down the line, and it has those are year 2, 3, 4 year fixes. But others that are right in front of us, you tackle those. Because if people have a bad holiday season and you have inflation rising and energy prices continue to go up, and we've not even touched on the fact that as it starts to get colder, especially through the Northeast, you're going to find out what heating oil and natural gas prices start to look like, especially if energy prices stay here, then people are going to get sticker shock. And then you move into the first part of the year, and they're going to look ugly. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Rough Greens makes the pet food better. Non-GMO. Absolutely fantastic. I take supplements, right? So why not your dog? Why not? This is what Canine VitaSmart is. It's a supplement. Sprinkle on top of your dog's food, brings your dog's food to life. It's incredible. So how does it work? Scoop, sprinkle. That's it. Nothing else. Don't change your dog's food if you don't want to. Any of those things. And then let it go to work. It's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff, digestive enzymes, and it goes to work in your dog's body. And it did that for my dog, especially with my dogs, not so much with the energy, with the little ones, my older one, the energy, and his hips. His hips were in a lot of pain, so he struggled. He doesn't anymore. He's happier and healthier than he's ever been. Right now, they want you to try it before you buy it. It's simple and easy. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. You go there. They're going to give you a bag for free. You just cover the cost of shipping. Roughgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3,
1, 2, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a peek at what's trending. Shall we? Some interesting stuff as more and more. So here's the funny thing. We're going to get a little deeper in the Gruden thing here in a bit, but John Gruden was not part of this investigation that is going on with the Washington football team. But he had emails back and forth with Bruce Allen, who at the time was the GM for the football team. 650,000 emails they're going through. Top of that, this is all based on a criminal investigation, DEA, on players' health and safety, drugs, things of that nature. And now more and more people, because people are starting to ask the question, who else emailed things that they shouldn't have, that have nothing to do? Again, nobody even knows why these emails were out there, because they don't know that there's an investigation going on that has nothing to do. This was an investigation of Gruden. But apparently Adam Schefter, who is a very large reporter in the NFL news world, apparently during the lockout, he was emailing unpublished reports to Bruce Allen, asking them, is there anything else I should change in these articles? Essentially, siding, if you will, with the owners. Crazy. Just never ends. Craziness, baby. Brett Favre's trending. I'm sure he did something. Luckily, he doesn't know how to use an email. I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. Oh, my goodness. Head on over to Google. Google's got a lot of interesting stuff. A lot of stuff. Gabby Petito, fortunately, we know how she died. We know how long she was out there. She was killed by strangulation. 3 to 4 weeks out there. They said that's all they will give as far as that goes. And that's in Wyoming, that's it. They will not give any other information on what is going on from there, but her body has been now sent back to her family. Kyrie Irving, the Nets will not let him play until he meets vaccine requirements. That's not going to happen, I think, anytime soon. The Seattle Kraken last night. You guys don't know who the Seattle Kraken is? You don't know? Ladies and gentlemen, the last team to join the NHL 5 years ago, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, went to Stanley Cup the first year. Well, last night they welcomed to the NHL the Kraken from Seattle.
Far point, it's done. A wrist shot taken, tipped off a body off Donato. Out in front, White Cloud's out of the box. Even terms on the ice. Donskoy, this way for Dunn. His shot stopped by Leonard, the rebound. They score! Ryan Donato has the first goal in Seattle Kraken history.
Yep, there you go. First goal in Seattle Kraken history. Ryan Donato there last night. And my favorite story of the day, Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters. Yesterday, out of nowhere, her verified profile. She says, she tweets this. Okay, understand. She's on Twitter, and she tweets, I have been hacked, and my Twitter account has been erased. I know who has done this. I will take care of this. M. Waters. What? You're tweeting from your account that your account has been erased. Mm-hmm. That's like somebody saying, you know, it's always, hey, email's not working. You know what? I'll email somebody about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Kyrie Irving says, nah. And the Nets say, nah. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm concerned about the political implications of vaccines and vaccination becoming another thing that divides us politically and culturally. I think for a lot of voters, they're not going to be able to make a distinction or a ready distinction between the idea of a mandated vaccine and the idea of taking any vaccine. And I think we're going to see this fight over vaccines bleed into other realms, vaccinations for children, vaccinations for flu. And we're going to see vaccination rates decline across the country now that this is something that people think defines their political virtue.
Dr. Scott Gottlieb, who apparently has not been around lately and just woke up. You didn't see this coming? By the way, I am all about science. Love it, right? Medicine, science, and know this. Things we think are certain today, we'll find out down the road. It may not be as certain as we thought. It's things we start to advance in the technology that we look at. I'm not talking about things like gravity and stuff, but like aspirin, right? Remember this? How long was it? You should be taking aspirin, right? You're under 60, you take a baby aspirin. Now they're like, well, hold on. Maybe we shouldn't. So people have had reservations, some of them rightfully so. Some of them are insane. Other people would just as easily, the people on the left make fun of the people on the right who are like, no, I don't really want to take this. I think I'm going to turn into a magnet. Well, okay, that's silly and stupid. But those other people out there, it's like, yeah, if I get 12 of these, that'd be fantastic. I'm also going to wear a mask in the room by myself, and I'm never going to leave my house. I'm like, okay. Okay. Dr. Gottlieb, this already is an issue. Mandates are going to get worse. I am somebody who's totally pro-science. I am all about talking to your doctor, doing what's best for you and your family, understanding that your personal responsibility I leave to you. Just like I'd like you to leave my personal responsibility to me. And I've got the vaccine. All that being said, I'm more pro-freedom than anything else.
I don't think governors should be stepping in to block private businesses from imposing mandates. If a business thinks it's the only way they can protect their workers or their customers, it should be their prerogative to do that. Just like I don't think the federal government should be stepping in to tell small businesses and private businesses that they have to mandate vaccination. If we could leave this to be local decision-making by businesses and by local authorities, I think that would be optimal. Now, we're not going to do that. We're a long way from that.
I agree 100%. I think the government should have zero mandates when it comes to this. Now, if you want to mandate federal employees, things of that nature, that's them. And they got to deal with the unions, too. Remember this. The feds have their own unions that these workers are going to have to deal with. So let them deal. If there's 8 people at a little cafe and the guy or gal who owns it says, look, if you want to work here, you're going to have to get vaccinated. Because I don't want to be in a position where you sue me or customer sues me or any. This is what I'm asking because I feel safe because I don't want to lose you. And that should be their right. It's your business. Government coming down on people, I think, is ridiculous. It's nuts.
This now has become a political football, and we're literally going to have the administration running against governors on this mandate, and we're going to have governors running for president in the next cycle on the issue of vaccination. I think long-term that's going to be corrosive to our overall public health efforts.
It might be. It might be. There's no doubt about that. And this is hitting every place you can think of. Case in point, Kyrie Irving. We talked about him the other day. Kyrie Irving, for those of you guys who don't know, is a basketball player. One of the best basketball players on his day in the world. One of the best basketball players in the world. He plays for the Brooklyn Nets. If you don't know anything about the Brooklyn Nets, they're odds-on favorite to win. They've got a transcendent player, arguably the greatest scorer in the history of basketball in KD. They've got a guy who is just in another world in James Harden. And sometimes Kyrie Irving is also in another world. All three of them are a bit of head cases, though. But they're in their prime. So this should be the opportunity. Last year, they were injured. There was a lot of things going on. Kyrie is not getting the vaccine. So they had to make a decision. Because he can't practice with the team in Brooklyn. He can't play in Brooklyn. He can't play in Boston. And he can't play in Los Angeles. because you have to be vaccines have to be administered if you're going to play in any of those places. So he could play elsewhere. They've made the decision. You know what? We're going to do this without you.
I think we're looking at putting a group of people out there that are going to be able to participate fully. And that's where this comes down to. And when we're not looking for partners that are going to be, half-time. I don't think that would be fair, not only on the team and staff and ownership and fans, but to be quite frank, not fair on Kyrie either. When you're putting somebody out there that potentially can't get the right ramp-ups and right build-ups and so forth, and look as good as he or the team should under a different set of circumstances. That's why this decision was ultimately made.
Yeah, he is the general manager and the alternate owner of the Brooklyn Nets. Sean Marks right there. And it's very interesting when you listen to him. They've decided, we're just not going to do this. We're just not going to have you. We'll pay you for all the games that you would have been able to play. But we can't do this to our team. We can't. We just can't. And when you listen to people, they talk about, you got choice.
Kyrie's made it clear that he has a choice in this matter. And it's ultimately going to be up to him what he decides. We respect the fact that he has a choice and he can make his own and right to choose. As again, right now, what's best for the organization is the path that we're taking.
What I find to be interesting, people are like, I can't believe he's hurting the team. He's doing all these things. And how? Well, because he's not getting the vaccine. Yeah, but everybody else has a vaccine. Yeah. Yeah, but he could what? He could get it. It's possible. By the way, just because you have the vaccine, as we all know, you could also get it. It doesn't make you, you got the shot. Doesn't mean you can't get it. It doesn't mean you can't give it. Now, the OG, the original virus, chances of you getting it was much smaller, and the chances of you giving it was much smaller. Delta's a little bit different. He didn't make this decision. He made the decision not to get a shot. The cities and states have made these decisions about the other stuff. And I think that we should draw a clear distinction. He wants to play. Now, at least for now. You never know. Again, Kyrie, a little different bird. You may not know. We've talked about it before. He wants to play. It's the other places that aren't letting him play because they say, well, you've got to do this or else. Okay. And he's willing to forego, I think it's about $16 million. And I go back to the mandate thing. Where does it end? Out of curiosity. When does it end? When does it end? Our flu shot's going to be next. Apparently, we're going to have an awful flu season. So be prepared.
After essentially virtually not having a flu season last year, health officials say that, well, this year's flu season will start any day now, and they are concerned that it could bring what they are calling a twindemic. Flu-related deaths dropped to just one last year compared to nearly 200 the season prior, one of the lowest recorded in recent U.S. history. However, over the past several weeks, respiratory viruses have really spiked, leading to increased emergency and urgent care visits.
A twindemic. It's coming, people. The twindemic.
Right now, when we're still seeing a lot of COVID, I can't tell the difference between COVID, RSV, influenza, some other coronavirus. They all look the same clinically. So if I see somebody and you've got fever, congestion, coughing, and it could be COVID, the easiest thing to do is just go get tested. Testing's free.
So there you go. Get ready for the twindemic. And if you might have COVID, you also might have the flu. And you know what's funny? People who have COVID, they're like, you got to stay home. But if you have the flu, you're like, I'm tested negative. And you can still go to work because nobody's going to say anything. Oh, goodness me. Get ready for the twindemic, kids. It's here. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. It wouldn't be a Woke Wednesday without somebody being canceled. And this is my favorite canceled story in a while. It's MIT professor Dorian Abbott. We touched a bit on him last week. Was going to give a lecture, a science lecture, by the way, at MIT, which they invited him. He wasn't just walking in. And, things got a little ugly because, he did something that has nothing to do with what he was about to talk about. And you can't have that in that Twitter mob.
MIT has canceled a science lecture by a geophysics professor after activists launched an outrage campaign against him over his views on diversity. That professor, Dorian Abbott from the University of Chicago.
A fundamental principle of moral philosophy is that we have to treat each person as an individual with inherent dignity. And if we violate that, we run the risk of repeating atrocities of the 20th century. So that's the danger.
Oh, wow. That's a horrible thing to say. How dare you?
The fact that MIT, one of the greatest universities in the world, caved in so quickly will only encourage others to deploy this same tactic.
My wife was born in Ukraine, and she had to be baptized in secret because if the government found out, her mother would have lost her job. And when she heard about what was happening on campus, when I first told her, she says, it sounds like what my mother told me about Soviet times. The free society is at stake here.
Yeah. Remember, you're going to a college, right? And again, you've heard some of the stuff. We touched on it. Here's the changing times. People are pushing back. Thousands of people have decided, I want to see him. I want to see him. I want to see this guy. So he's going to do a remote lecture hosted by Princeton. And thousands of people are signing up to do it. Now, this was not about race or identity. This was supposed to be about climate change. But it shows you the insanity of which people will do certain things. And we'll wait for a moment. Nobody knows who this guy is outside of some academia. And it only takes a minute for the Twitter mob to find something that they didn't like about him, or for another professor to say, this person did this, to dig up something and to say, I want you gone, because that's totalitarianism. Believe what I believe, or else. What you say, if it goes against any of my ideals or beliefs, even if it's based in facts and data, you be damned. But thousands are signing up. Because I don't think people inherently want that. But when you continue to bend to the remember what I say, the flea now wags the tail that wags the dog. When you continue to give in to the flea, this is what you get. Luckily, people are fighting back. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. By the way, October 21st, supposed to be at MIT. It'll now be online. And he's excited about it, as he should be. As he should be. Canceling somebody, having them removed, silencing them because you don't like their opinion, you don't like the data that they brought, because it makes you uncomfortable and somehow that minimizes you, is not being open-minded. It's being totalitarian. It's being evil. You're shutting human beings up because you don't like their data, their facts, the truth, their opinion. Enough. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. My Pillow has my slippers. You know, all the talk. Supply chain and the worries of that. You can get your My Slipper delivered right to your house. 50% off right now. 50% off. Delivered right to you. Indoor, outdoor slippers. Incredible. And I do mean incredible. So there's 3 layers to the soul. First and foremost, slide your foot right in there. They got the regular old moccasin style, which I'm sure you can't say anymore. And then, of course, they have the slip-on style. It's got faux fur. It's got this amazing suede leather on the outside. But then the sole. You've got the patented fill from MyPillow, memory foam, and then a new soft gel that helps with the cushioning when it comes to your walking. And that's made out of soybeans grown in the U.S. 50% off right now. Deep discounts on everything else you can imagine. Go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Check out all the deep discounts, but save 50% right now with the My Slippers from MyPillow. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
You know what's interesting is we were talking about, like, when people, the Twitter mob attacks, like, perfect example is what's going on. You know, Facebook's not back down. I mean, Netflix isn't backing down, and people are upset, and they're angry, and they're coming, you know, Chappelle, they want him canceled, and he's like, whatever. He's like, this is the real world. If you want to make and frustrate people, especially as somebody that's like a comic, you know what you don't do? You don't bring attention to it. If you tell a child, oh my God, don't look at this, what is the one thing they want to do? Or anybody, they want to look. So when you tell people, don't look at this, it's awful, you're bringing so much attention to it that it sends it through the roof. Now, Chappelle was going to get a decent amount of watches. But I know a lot of people around here who really don't, they're not into stand-up comedy. You know, they didn't watch the Chappelle show, they didn't really care. But they're like, well, I'm going to watch it now. Because you told them not to. You brought more. If you really wanted to, you want to make people irrelevant. The difference between punishing them is ignoring them. Because the more you say, look, this is awful and bad, but don't look, the more people want to go, And it continues to happen. Over and over again. I see it. Every once in a while. Maybe you watch something and you go, meh, and you move on. Meh. He's got a 97 score on Rotten Tomatoes. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. He went to space. The spaceman. Captain Kirk. Stardate. October 13th. I was in space for like 4 minutes. Boom. Kiss my butt, Spock. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
And that's exactly what has happened. Shatner has gone to space!
There is an adventure in my life that I would not have had I not done this. And it looks like there's a great deal of curiosity about this fictional character, Captain Kirk, going into space. So let's go along with it and enjoy the ride.
And that's exactly what he has done. They went up there, they spent their time there, they came back down. Jeff Bezos did not kill Captain Kirk. We were talking about what a mess that would be. How cool is that? That's what we're doing in our country. For all the chaos, for all the nuts, for all the things like...
Consumer prices rose at the fastest pace in 13 years in September, driven by gains in the price of food and gas. As consumer demand outstrips supply, bottlenecks in the supply chain from ports to warehouses mean many Americans are paying more for products, or they're not finding goods on the store shelves at all. Worker shortages are also driving up wages.
We sent Captain Kirk into space. So let's go over this. Right? Let's go over how this took place. Which I love. I like having fun like this. He was born 2 years before Star Trek debuted. He built a gazillion-dollar company, decided to go to space, then took the guy who starred in that show to space. America. That's America as it gets right there. America! That's why when I say we have issues with the ports, with getting the supply chain up and running, getting ready for the holiday season, that we could get stuff done if we maybe press a little bit. If maybe, just maybe, you pushed a little harder, if you will. You did a little bit more when it comes to that. Because all that being said, a billionaire decided to shoot off the Shatner. I find it fascinating. And I find it amazing. I do. I know maybe not a lot of other people do, but I just think the whole thing to me is just awesome that we do. It gives you hope. Because too often, everybody's negative. Somebody sent me something last night, and, he complains about me a lot, and totally fine. He's like, why don't you take phone calls? I'm like, well, because we've done the research, and nobody wants to hear anybody talk. Right? Like, if you there's avenues for that. You could start your own podcast. You can do all those kind of things. But listeners want to hear themselves. They don't want to hear others. Plus, the other thing is we roll through a lot of stuff. But if you want to go and you want to leave a message at 323-538-2423, I'll play it. I always tell everybody, don't be profane. All too often, there's so much profane on it, you can't play it. But the thing he sent me is, America's going to hell in a handbasket. No, it's not. America's in the greatest time in human history, more wealth than ever before. When we hear stuff like this, middle class is shrinking, yeah, there's some issues, and issues that we can fix. Issues that can be dealt with. But when you really take a step back, come on. You're doing all right, right? Like, you're doing okay. I mean, we're all right. When you honestly think about it. Like, yeah, okay, maybe, Chad. I don't know. I mean, it's like, we're going to Starbucks. I'm not, because I don't drink Starbucks. But you got your Starbucks, right? You got, clean water. Oh, not always. But yeah, by and large, we have so many things that people who are wealthy in other countries wish they had. Wished they had. But they don't. America is still the place where anything can happen. America is still the place where you can start from nothing and become something. America is still the place that, yeah, dreams are bigger. And it's amazing. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I look at something like this today and I think to myself, the satirical side of it all, because there's plenty of it, right? I told Phil, it's like, this could be the greatest 10 minutes of your life, or in 10 minutes you'll be dead. Because, it sounds, but the reality is you never know what's going to happen. 90 years old, Shatner goes to space. We're talking about it. When space, Tesla goes a little bit further, and I don't even know what's going on with the Virgin thing. I think they just kind of shoot him up in the air. But this is awesome. I love this kind of stuff. Just because I see possibilities and opportunities. I see what we are and what we could become even greater than. And a lot of other people, everyone wants to focus on the negative. I just can't do that. I won't do that. So many things that are going on amazing. Yes, are there issues that we need to address? 100%.
Today we saw another jobs report that fell well below expectations, the smallest jobs gains in nearly a year. Gas prices are at a 7-year high. Inflation is up. The president is struggling to get the rest of his Build Back Better agenda passed through Congress. How do you assess where things stand right now?
We certainly don't see things as darkly as you do. Look, the president's focus is on leading through a challenging time, and that has been his focus from the first day he took office.
It is a challenging time. We're going through a challenging time. But the fact that we have so much technology available to us, it's not as challenging as it could be. The fact that opportunities are available for a lot of people to work at home is very real. There's plenty of things that are going on. I mean, we're at the point now, we talk about wokeness and stuff. We're at the point in our world, at our time, where we are making up things to be angry about. Because there's really not a lot to be angry about. We're making things up to be angry about. I'm angry because somebody misgendered me, or I'm angry because somebody, didn't use the right pronoun, or I'm angry. Yeah, I mean, individually, there's some times where, of course you're going to be angry. We're human beings, but this is real. Like, I love this. Got in this morning. I drove my car here, rocking out, came up here. Did a little workout, do that every morning, doing a thing called Basement Beast, and can I just say, it's kicking my ass. Doing my work, talking to you guys via a satellite, going out to everybody, talking to my producer, Phil, out there in Arlington, and my producer, Anthony, who happens to be in town today, and we're going to hang out. First time we've seen each other in almost 3 years. Life's good. Well, it's good for you, Chad, because you're a cis white gendered male. Settle down. First of all, you don't even know what I am. Outside of being a cisgender, whatever, you know anything else outside of that. I busted my ass to get here. The opportunities were here. I've been as broke as they come. I've been broke in 2 continents. I've been homeless almost 2 continents. Opportunities out here are amazing. We've got more jobs than we know what to do with. That's why when people say the world's going to hell, no, politics is going to hell. Politics sucks. Politics is a mess. Politics is a train wreck. Politics is a lot of things. But have you ever noticed that no matter how bad it gets, the American people get through it? That no matter how bad it gets, we push through? That no matter what happens, we're there and we're fighting through this? And yes, if you take away politics, and I'm talking about the political Twitter world of politics and the insanity of what you see when you see people that are out there screaming and yelling like the Trumps of the world and the Mitch McConnells and the Pelosi's and the Chuck Schumers and the AOCs. You take away all of those things, we're probably not fighting about a lot. We get people that fight on emotion and all those kind of things. At the end of the day, most of us want the exact same thing. Be able to go to work. Want to have some opportunity, right? Want to be able to feed our family, take care of our kids or our partners or whatever. We want to be able to enjoy ourselves, have a smile on our face, get back at it and do it again. And then politics gets in the way and screws everything up. I always tell, what's the common denominator here? Politics. Unfortunately, the common denominator is we continue to put the same idiots in, again, whose agenda in their world is to hold power, and the best thing they can do is separate us and then have us fight. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. He's back. He is safe. It's Captain Kirk. Stardate. Captain's log. No green men. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love my Raycons. You will love yours. 45-day happiness guarantee. Here's what you get with Raycon. First, they come in this amazing case, fully charged, ready to roll. You're going to get 4 full charges out of your case before you have to plug it in. There's wireless options there as well for that. On top of that, what you get are the best earbuds. The sound quality is amazing. The noise isolating fit is incredible. You will not be disappointed in any way, shape, or form. There's no stems, there's no wires, and the price point, they start under $70, and you're going to save big. Try these things, these earbuds, right? Because to me, it's when I think of an earbud, I think of something I'm always pushing back in. It's just the most subtle feeling. You will love it. Get yours right now. Best earbuds around. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Get your earbuds that rule. They're called Raycons. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Save 15%. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here. Just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
How about that, guys? How about that, guys? That was unlike anything they described.
Shatner, 90, flew up, flew back. Went to space, Captain Kirk. They have landed. That's right. They have landed.
Stand by touchdown. Stand by touchdown.
And capsule touchdown. Welcome back, the newest astronauts.
Again, I used the astronaut thing. I mean, you didn't do... So the difference is they went up to, like, the edge of space. That's the one thing I'll say about, like, Tesla, right? He went into space. People keep asking, like, why haven't you gone, Elon? And he's like, because I've already been there, like, 50,000 times. Oh, you guys didn't know? If there was one person in the world where you look at it and you go, that guy could be an alien, it's Elon. He's got a weird accent. It's that South African / American / some other kind of not quite sure, because it's all been kind of like put together, and it's, you know, and that's the guy where you go, you guys have no idea? No idea? No? You guys know as an alien? You guys, nobody thought about that? Yeah. But today, they did it. They went, they landed, they came home. All is well. All is well. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. You guys do remember today is Woke Wednesday.
And people will say, oh, I call all my friends guys. Let's talk about the use of guys as a gender-neutral term. For a lot of trans and non-binary folks, being referred to in this way triggers their dysphoria. And people will say, oh, I call all my friends guys, even my girlfriends. But your cis friends did not experience the trauma of being conditioned into a gender that is not theirs. For me, I have stopped saying it because I realize the importance of degendering our language. Language matters. And the words that we use inform the way we see the world.
This guy has never had fun in his life. Just walking around on edge, right? Ready to just attack. So don't call them guys. Hey, guys. Hey, non-binary gender people. Can I say people? Or is that a no?
There are literally studies on this. So when we consider words like guys to be gender neutral and not girls or ladies, this fuels the narrative that man is default. And this is the core of the patriarchy. Look, you can use whatever words you want, but we have to consider their impact. And if someone tells you that the language you are using is hurting them and you decide not to change because it is more comfortable for you, I think that says a lot about your character. I love you.
Thanks for scolding me. How about this? What if you used to be a girl, but now you're a guy, but there's some other girls over there, ladies, and you say, hey, guys, and then they're offended, but then you've now become a male and you identify as that, and you're kind of like, yeah, I am a guy. You're like, oh, God, Chad. What does that even mean? Is that possible? It is possible. It is absolutely possible. I just listen to that. I go back. I joke about the wokeness and stuff. And this is it. We're living in a day and age where people are essentially looking for that great battle, right? They're looking for where is their World War II? Is it climate? It may not be climate because you really can't do anything, right? Like you can't go outside and shout. People want to feel like there's that bond of something. So they're creating, the boogie person. So that's what we're going to call him now. Oh my God, here comes the boogie person. Hey, it's the boogie they. Doesn't sound the same, does it? Maybe that's why Michael Myers is so angry. Maybe somebody misgendered him. Have you guys thought of that? You guys keep calling him a he. You keep saying he's going to kill everybody. That really hurts him. Them. They. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Still a lot of stuff to get to. We can try to squeeze it all in. Yes, Gruden deserved to go. Yes, those emails were nasty. We can all agree on that. But is there more to it than just that? Was he potentially targeted after being stumbled upon in this trove of emails? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show was your Twitter. The Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Shatner's home, made it safely. Flew out to space. Not like space, like not the final frontier. More like the beginning of the final frontier. Then he came home. And he's fine. Living life large, kids. It's a beautiful thing. Life feels good. Beautiful day outside. Fall's in the air. Halloween is close by. By the way, can I just say, let's do this really quick. Producer Phil, maybe you can weigh in on this one because I think I need somebody else who will get this. I touched it a little bit today with producer Anthony earlier in the morning. But they have the costumes, it's politically correct. We got to go through all this. And one poll did this big thing on what parents believe costumes should be banned from stores, right? So they go through like portrayal of cultural stereotypes and pandemic related, which that's just funny. Just get over yourself. Transphobic costumes. What is that? Like, is there so you dress up like Chappelle, even though he's not phobic? Confederate flag, anything blackface. But the number one thing they said, Holocaust-related costumes, i.e. dressing up as Anne Frank. What? Is there a clamor for that? Or people are going, you know what I'm going to be this year? What? I think, hey, who is with me? You guys want to, I'm going to dress my little 3-year-old up as Anne Frank. Yeah? Yeah, I think that's it. She's clamoring for it. She wants to be a clown? No. She wants to be a little cute witch or a dinosaur? No. She looked right at me and she says, man, if only I could be Anne Frank.
I'll stop by the spirit store on my way home, see if I can find a costume.
I'm just like Holocaust, like what? Like the boy in the striped pajamas? I mean, what exactly? Who's clamoring for this? And I love how only 43% say blackface should be banned. You guys, they're the worst. You're just the worst. I can't believe you guys would say something like they're the worst. So, John Gruden, of course, we heard his heartfelt reaction the other day, that was super heartfelt, and he's apologizing, and, still this stuff and this mess that's out there. The NFL's got a problem on their hands.
When the first email surfaced on Friday, there were mixed reactions in that locker room. I think many people were angered and disappointed, of course. There were some people who sounded almost indifferent to it, and there were actually some who supported John Gruden, as hard as that might be to believe, but they still believe he's our head coach. We play for our head coach.
It's Adam Schefter right there. By the way, for those of you guys who don't know, Adam Schefter's also been caught up on this, so we'll touch on that in a second. So Gruden's, like, I'm sorry, apology, blah, 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 whatever. It was just, it was stupid, and he's gone. People are asking questions, though, because Mike Florio's reported, and he's a big-time reporter as well. And I'm sure there are many executives, some coaches, some assistant coaches, some former executives, some former coaches, maybe even some players, and maybe some owners who are a little uneasy at this moment, because they do not know what's in these emails. Now, these emails that they took, this was a raid, 650,000 emails. The DEA is investigating the Washington football team, which at the time was the Washington Redskins, for potential drug-related offense and player safety issues. Trying to get guys back out there, giving them what they need. You had people over-prescribing, under-reporting, things of that nature, amongst other things that they're looking for. People are asking the question, okay, well, John worked for ESPN. It had nothing to do with that. It's zero to do with why is this coming out. Few reasons people are pointing out. One, they're not a fan of John Gruden. They're not a fan of him, even though he was a great announcer and said a lot of stuff. They weren't a fan of him. He complained. He didn't want them to work out as hard, but he also didn't like the fact, as he said, that wussification of the league. There was a lot of things about him that rubbed him the wrong way. Plus, he said, stuff at times. And they had been sitting on this for months. You're like, oh, well, why didn't they bring it out in the summer? Exactly. The other thing is that they're reporting is once they released the first one, which was potentially a strategic thing, DeMaurice Smith, who is the player rep for the NFL, they released that. They figured, well, this is going to get him. And two things they're saying possible for this. One, he was up for a vote, I think it was the very next day, if they were going to keep him. They thought maybe the sympathetic ear and this coming out may keep him as the player rep. Why is that? Because he's awful at it. The owners walked all over him, and they didn't want to start a new relationship. And the second thing is they maybe did want him out. What he did, what he put in those things, that's all him. He's got to own that. He's done for that. But when he didn't get fired or quit, then they started releasing more. And apparently they said they would release many more until he was gone. Until they can make it so untenable, he would leave. That's why people are asking questions. This investigation has nothing to do with John Gruden. But why did this come out? Now Adam Schefter's being caught up in it because during negotiations, back in the player lockout/walkout, whatever you guys want to call it, he was sending reports to then general manager and I guess the owner of the Washington team about, take a look at this report, guys. What do you guys think? I'm going to publish it later. There's some issues here. I want to know who else is in this, because this can't be the only thing. And all that being said, if we forget that this is a criminal investigation, some people could be in serious trouble facing criminal charges. But I think it's a fair question to ask. Why did this come out? And ESPN supposedly knew about some of this stuff long ago? Okay. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I just find it to be an odd thing. I find it to be a weird thing, but it does show you that somebody said, well, why would they do that? A company, an organization like they said in that movie, the concussion movie, that owns a day of the week will do anything to protect its brand. So would I put it in a position where maybe, just maybe, they wanted to protect their brand and they didn't like this guy over here? It's possible. And that maybe if there was some stuff in there that could implicate, not so much criminally, but through emails, that they had said some things that could get them, quote unquote, canceled, that they would hide that. Yeah, I would put that past them. Would you? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Trade schools, baby.
At one time, trade schools were considered a place where kids who couldn't get into college could learn a skill that would lead to a solid, but maybe not high-paying job. Now, they may be the ones with the best financial prospects.
I wanted to do something that paid well and you could get right out of high school. That was very much a necessity.
Aiden Lanning is learning to be an HVAC technician at a trade school in Auburn, Ohio. Brian Bontempo is a superintendent.
These students, not only do they have great skills, they have a little leverage, too.
Starting pay nationwide now averages in the $60,000 range.
Yeah, $60,000. By the way, in many of these places, you're walking away with zero debt. Why does that matter? Two things are going on in our economy. First of all, for those of you not keeping score, if you look at college enrollment, men are falling off fast.
In the fall of 1970, men accounted for nearly 59% of U.S. college students, women 41%. Last year, American colleges enrolled 1.5 million fewer students than 5 years ago. Women make up nearly 60% of college students, with men at 40%. That's the largest gender gap in the history of American higher education, and it's getting wider. And it's basically a reversal of where things stood a half century ago.
Yeah, Michael Schmirkonis there. And that's interesting. And there's a lot of things that go into something like this. But when you start to see a decline like this, and men are looking at things in a much different way. A lot of guys just want to get out there. They don't want to go and have $150,000 in debt. And you know, if they're not going for a specific reason, they maybe want to get going on their career. But there's a lot of other things that are at play here that I don't think people really realize. It's not just the dollars and cents thing. But college is expensive. And I think some people are looking at it as like, if I don't go, I can't work. That's not true. In fact, some places that required a college degree now are skipping those things because they need employees.
In the fall of 1970, men accounted for nearly 50.
Wrong one. I pushed the wrong button. I got a little excited there.
The opportunities for men at that age are greater than they are for women. You can walk into a construction site in Florida, which at the age of 18, if you can make $100 to $200 a day, that feels like real cabbage. And it feels like, quite frankly, our role models, whether it's Donald Trump or Elon Musk, sort of disparage or have disdain for college grads. Products gotten more expensive, and there are more opportunities for men at the age of 18.
My brother said to my nephew when he was graduating from high school, I can buy you a backhoe or I can send you off for 4 years and it's your choice. And he thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to be a lawyer, doctor, some of those other things, yeah, totally. But too many, and I think we need to start pushing a gap year or two for kids anyways. Because when you start to look at the demographic makeups, take away male or female, look at the age and how many people go back, and they're going back for another degree because the one that they got really didn't do anything for them, and they felt like they had nowhere else to go. So this was just, I'm going to go on to this. But there's also something else in this. And we're living in a time and a day and age where we're not producing as much as we used to. And I'm not talking about product. I'm talking about the kids. You need a certain amount. You need to outpace deaths to continue to see the society. And what happens when nature, which we all know will mess you up, kind of takes over, even though people say that really doesn't exist?
What we don't talk about is the existential threat this presents to society. 2 in 3 relationships start on Tinder, 50 men, 50 women, 46 women show all their attention to just 4 men. And what do those 4 women have? They signal success with a college degree. So you're going to have the most dangerous person in the world is a broke and a lone male, and we are producing too many of them. The mating inequality that's going to come out of this dearth of men in college, poses an existential risk to our economy and our society.
Yeah. Women, and by nature, rarely will you see somebody who wants to date down. For guys, if you see somebody who doesn't have something and they're into them, they will. But for women, they look at the whole package. And if you look over there and you see a guy that you think, oh, he's cute or whatever, but he doesn't really think going for him, and he's, still kind of living at home, and he's kind of a hot mess. And maybe you think, some people think, I could fix him. But when you're talking about people who are successful, they don't want to wait on that person to be fixed. We've talked about this. There's going to be some issues in the future. Women don't want to date down. And you see it in nature, throughout nature, right? Like throughout nature, and we're talking the mammals here, what happens? You have that dominant male, and the females will go. They'll fight over all of those things. They're not looking for the weakest of the bunch. So this will be interesting. Women are dominating college, and that's going to be that way for a while. And I think he's also right, too. Men can step out and do construction things because apparently women can't. Oh, we can. Yeah, but it's not going to happen much. It isn't. Comparatively. Yes, you can, but it isn't happening the way it is with men. And I think men also look and say, I'd rather earn, as he said, some cabbage early and have opportunity without debt comparatively to taking out God knows how much in loans and getting something to only kind of potentially end up somewhere that I would want to if I wanted to use that degree, but maybe end up at the same place I could start at 18. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from all of you. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
He went to space. He went there. And he returned.
What you have given me is the most profound experience I can imagine. I'm so filled with emotion about what just happened. It's extraordinary.
That's right, Captain Kirk. Overrun with emotion. I guess you would say he's lost in emotion.
So quickly, 50 miles
and you're just in blackness.
You're in death. Yeah. The moment
this is life.
This is life, and that's death. And it's in an instant, you go, wow, that's death.
Yeah. But yet life, because he came back. Blue Origin went to space. And the spaceman came home.
I hope I never recover from this. I hope that I can maintain what I feel now. I don't want to lose it.
Still pretty cool. I think it's awesome. I do. I think it's awesome. Went to space, came home. Blue Origin. I was asking Phil because, I love the fact, Phil, that Jeff Bezos was dressed up. I thought he was going. He's going to go. He didn't go again. He's like, I already did that. I'm not taking a chance like that again. Oh, my goodness me. Home, safe. Good for him. That's what I love about America. I love that about America. We went to space again. We flew people to space again. Regular people. And trained for years. This is something that is becoming more and more prevalent. And I do believe, I'm 50 years old, there is no doubt in my mind, keep pushing it, living pretty clean and healthy life, that I'll have a chance to eventually do something like that. I think a lot of people, and there's no doubt in my mind, my kids will do that. That'll just be something that gets done. Kind of cool. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from each and every single one of you. Hulu's got a new show out today, and it is so interesting. Michael Keaton stars in it, and it's called Dope Sick.
Michael Keaton plays a doctor in Dope Sick, a doctor who thought he was helping his patients with pain but got them hooked on OxyContin.
I can't believe how many of them are
good now.
Keaton tells me before the series he was like a lot of us, familiar with the story, but
I really didn't know the specifics of this.
Dopesick covers a lot. Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family, the government investigation, and the opioid epidemic's tragic effects on cities and small towns across the country.
Something that is real and kind of heartbreaking, and it makes you angry.
Dopesick premieres today on Hulu.
It is fascinating. And to see the way that they send these young salespeople out to hawk these things is incredible. Good, fun day. We got you over the hump. We always do that. We will do it again tomorrow. As always, night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.